Good morning, Shawn.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here at the Jewish Family Library.
Thank you.
Now, I always enjoy when a new person comes to our synagogue, never been here before, and they're like a whiteboard. They haven't heard anything about Judaism, they don't know anything about Judaism, and it's it's good to hear someone's like fresh perspective, who has not any preconceived notions about Judaism, doesn't know anything about it, and they're just like ready to hear, they're open. And I am like that to you. I don't know anything about your story at all, and I like to learn about it because I know that you've inspired thousands of people around the world. My cousin, Rabbi Fogelman, couldn't talk enough about you. I know my brother-in-law, Rabbi Chaim Ozer Medal from Las Vegas, did your bar mitzvah, and I am a 5-year-old who has never heard of you, who wants to learn about you, and be inspired by your story. So, where should we begin?
I guess we could begin from the beginning, where I was born. So I was born.
Adam and Eve?
Adam and Eve, yes. Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
So, I was born in Englewood, New Jersey. And at the age of 5, that's when my parents divorced. And obviously that was like something that was very stressful on my young soul. Like anybody who goes through a divorce, it's very stressful. But my parents decided after that too to also move to Las Vegas. So when we moved to Las Vegas, it just added to more stress because Vegas wasn't very a healthy place at the time, 15, 20 years ago.
It wasn't yet a mitzvah city.
No, not yet. Now today there's so many kosher restaurants and synagogues and everything, but back then there was no Judaism.
So your parents were divorced and they both moved to Las Vegas?
Yeah, so my dad moved to Las Vegas.
To which area?
Summerlin. And then my mom followed him because she wanted her kids to be, I had a little brother at the time too. She wanted us to be close to our father.
It's just interesting. My kids look at Summerlin. I brought my kids to Summerlin many times. My kids think of Summerlin as New Jersey because in Summerlin there's this like beautiful lake next to the Chabad Center, right? So like my kids like, what's New Jersey? What's Las Vegas about? There's a river. There's a lake. There's ducks. That's what they look at Las Vegas like. But I'm sure your experience is very different.
Yeah, they mask it very well.
Yeah,
it looks like Florida in some places there too. Yeah.
So you went from Englewood.
Yes.
To Las Vegas. Las Vegas says not it's a city, so
no,
that was difficult.
So there was.
You were 5 years old.
I was 5 years old.
You remember this?
I remember this. So my father's Israeli. My mom, she's Ashkenazi American. So I didn't really. The only Judaism I had at the time was my dad would say like Baruch Hashem or Bezrat Hashem or like always marry a Jewish girl. That was the only Judaism at all. And then that quick bar mitzvah that I had. That was it.
When you met my brother-in-law, he met you somewhere, went on film with you.
Yeah, so we would go, I think, to the holidays, like very, like seldom.
On Regatta Drive over there, to the Chabad Center.
Yeah, to the Chabad Center. We learned a little bit before the bar mitzvah, but I didn't take it serious at all. Like I didn't care, at the time. And also at that time, I fell in love with something called football. I became like a really good football player, and that's all I cared about at the time. No Judaism, just football. And it got to a point where I was really good at 12 years old that I was getting looked at by professional quarterbacks. There's a quarterback named Randall Cunningham. I don't know if you know that name. And
With me?
Yeah, have a seat.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an epidemic.
We're on taping, so
So listeners just tuned in. We're up to Shawn's interest in football versus an interest in Judaism as a child of 12 years old, being looked at by Cunningham, one of the top quarterbacks. And how do you find out about you? I always felt like when I was a kid, I was in 4th grade, and I was the best in my field. No one would ever hear about me. Mm-hmm. How would the quarterback hear about you?
So I got lucky. His son is my age, and we played against his team. So he spotted me playing against him. He's like, you have an opportunity to make football a profession if you really take it serious.
Wow. To
go to the NFL, to go pro. And I took it very serious at that time.
I can imagine if you're 12 years old, that's your dream.
Yeah, it was my dream.
My kids never met any professional quarterback, but my kids at the age of 12 also thought they'd be professional football players. One of my kids said, Tati, I know I'm going to become a professional football player.
Kids love football.
And I was like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think for a second he would, but you actually, someone actually knows was telling you.
I was training with him. I was training with other speed, getting faster and stronger. It was everything. Ate, slept, and breathed football. And then it got to a point where I had to choose a high school in the next step. And that high school I chose was a Catholic high school. So I went to a Catholic school.
Because of the football team?
Because of the football. That was the best team in the state.
In Nevada?
In Nevada. So at the school, you have to wear like a polo shirt with a cross on your shirt. And you're going to Christian and Catholic services once a week. Every single day they're teaching about that and about that person.
How did you feel about that?
Well, it's funny. I always like joke because I didn't care about, my grades were horrible. I didn't care about any of the other subjects. So that subject, the religious subject, it didn't penetrate either. Thank God, because that's dangerous. You know, they could have turned me into a Christian. You know, when there's 1,000 Christian and Catholic people, and they think they're saving the Jews. You know, like that one Jew.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I said, missed the beginning. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
You were born Jewish, I take it?
Yes.
I see, okay.
Yes. My mom, she's Ashkenazi. My dad's Israeli.
Ashkenazis are Jewish too, aren't they?
Yeah, you look a bit Sephardi.
Yeah. I have a big bunch of different things.
We all are.
Yes.
I'm quite sure.
So you're living, breathing football, but you're in this Catholic school. You're not interested in mathematics. You're not interested in any studies, and so JC didn't really have a chance with you either because you weren't interested in any of the studies. But but don't you have to pass? Don't you have to graduate in order to be able to be on the team?
Yes, you do. So I barely graduated. Like I had C's and D's. I was horrible in school, very horrible. And like a big part of my story is at 16 and a half, and I always like go around sharing with kids like one mistake can change your life. So after a football game, I went out to a party for the first time, and I drank and like I smoked a cigarette or something like that, and I instantly became in love with that lifestyle. Like football, I didn't realize it at the time, but football was on the back burner. And the weeks forward, I would party, I would drink, and that weekly partying and drinking turned into daily drinking and smoking until the point where I'm a drug addict, full blown. Like a year later.
What was your drug of choice?
Marijuana, but I was also doing alcohol and pills and trying all different types of drugs. And this was from the second I woke up in the morning till I went to sleep at night.
What kind of pills?
Xanax, Adderall, morphine, Percocet, everything.
Wow.
A little bit of everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really crazy. You know, I'm lucky I didn't overdose. You know, mixing all these different drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense. This is at 16, till how long does this last?
This lasted up until about 17 and a half, where I went into my senior year. My senior year, I said to myself, I want to make my dreams a reality to go pro. That was my dreams, to go make it to the NFL. And out of nowhere, I prayed to Hashem. Like the first time ever I prayed to Hashem, I said, God, please let me have a good football season and I'll stay away from the drugs. So the first 3 games of the season, stayed completely clean from the drugs.
I just want to. So you were going to mass every Sunday, right?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar. So you were going to mass every Wednesday, and you never prayed to God while you were there.
Never. I just sat
like,
there.
And counted the 10 and 20.
Yeah, it was just like math class for me. Like
math
is it over?
and math class, the same thing.
Yeah, waiting for it to be over.
Waiting to be over. Got it. But your first time you actually talked to Hashem was 17 and a half. God, help me with my football, and I promise you I'm going to stay away from drugs.
Yep, that was my prayer. And the
Where
first.
did you make this prayer? I just want to know.
Where did I make this prayer?
What time did you make this prayer? Where were you making this prayer?
That's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that because I don't remember. I don't think I remember, but I do remember the prayer and how strong it was.
It's interesting because in chassidus is a concept called the city of truth, which means that when you're in touch with the truth, completely engrossed in something, you don't feel where you are. You're in the place of truth. So like you don't remember where and when it was, because you were just, it didn't matter where it was. It didn't matter what time it was. You were just you're talking to Hashem.
That's very interesting. I cannot picture it where it was. I just remember it.
It was intense.
Yeah, it is intense.
So may I ask a question?
Yes.
Briefly? So you made a decision to stop the drugs, and that was the deal. Did you have no adverse effects? You just stopped the drugs?
So I never had any withdrawal symptoms because I think I was working out so hard and I was sweating and drinking water. Every day you release the toxins.
Yeah.
And I was like a young guy at the same time too, so it's very interesting. I didn't have any withdrawals.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank God.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes. Because some people have really bad. It's horrible. Yeah. So going into the season, do you know anything about football stats a little bit?
No.
So pretty much I had really good stats. Like it was like Hashem was putting up his end of the deal, right? Because I was.
For our listeners, you could say some of the stats. So we could get
So I had the first 3 games 1,100 passing yards and 11 touchdowns.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. It could be a whole season. 12, 13 games a person does that.
Wow.
But I did that in 3 games. So we played Friday
Wow.
nights.
You're like playing professional with kids. Basically.
Yeah. Well,
You're
yeah.
doing professional games.
Yeah.
You're playing with little kids.
Yeah.
I'm playing with my kids are better than me now, but that's what it was like.
Yeah.
You're a professional football player playing with a little bunch of high school kids.
Totally. Yeah, high school is much easier. And then as you go to college and pro, the competition gets harder.
Yeah.
But we played Friday nights. So the Thursday before the 3rd game, a friend comes up to me and he says, "Shawn, let's go smoke some weed." And I was like thinking about the prayer and thinking about my season, but I didn't realize how strong my addiction was. And I was like, okay, it's fine. What's going to happen? So I went out, I smoked with my friend. The next morning, they randomly drug tested me.
Aye.
And in 4 years, you never know, of high school, you never know when they're going to randomly drug test you. It could be never, it could be the year before, the year. So they randomly drug tested me. And the week after that, I was kicked off the football team. My dreams shattered. My heart was broken like no other. It's still a little painful to this day because football was my love. It's something I was killing myself for that for 10, 15 years. And as an adult today, I realize you make a mistake, okay, you can just get back up. But as a 17-year-old kid, I decided to get even worse. I became more into the drugs, doing 5 drugs a day, all day. I was stealing. I started stealing every day for 2 years.
So where did you steal from family?
Everybody but family.
You didn't steal from family?
No. Friends, schoolmates, teammates, random people. And it got to a point where in my criminal activity, because I was so, I know it probably doesn't look like it now, but when you're so intoxicated, I started walking around with a weapon and I started burglarizing and robbing people. August 25th, 2015, I went into 7 convenience stores and I committed 7 armed robberies, all at gunpoint. 20 years old. August 25th, 2015.
Convenience stores. What is it called in Las Vegas? Whiskey Pete's? Whiskey Pete's? No, that's
City Speed, I forget what it's called.
gas stations.
Yeah, gas stations. It's so embarrassing to like, even when I got to prison, like the guys laughed at me because it's like such a, in their criminal mind, it's like a joke, to rob convenience stores. But
it's like saying you watch the movies.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody does that.
You walked in with a hoodie?
Ski mask.
Ski mask.
Yeah. And it's funny.
Could you do it on me for a second?
Huh?
I'm on the counter. Could you do it on me?
I can't do it.
You can't do it?
I can't. It's funny because it's not
Your money or your life, like that?
something. Not. It was like, give me the money.
Give me the money.
So, but
You throw the gun.
yeah, it's so not me. So it's funny. After that happened, my lawyer had a private investigator interview all the people that I robbed to ask them, was he scary? Were you traumatized? Nobody was scared. Nobody was traumatized, even with a gun to their face.
Wow.
Because it just wasn't my my personality.
You're a lousy burglar.
Is it turned? Yeah, lousy burglar.
So they could tell you're just like, your money or your life.
Yeah.
Who are you kidding?
Yeah, they were like, I think one of them, I went in there like, come on, like, are you serious? Like,
Grow up, man.
Yeah.
We put that toy away. We don't have to use it.
Exactly. And it happens a lot.
That's amazing.
In the middle of
Every
the
single
night.
one of the people that went to you said that.
Yep. Nobody was traumatized, thank God. Nobody needed therapy or anything like that.
Wow.
Because you could really ruin somebody's life by doing something like that.
Wow.
So 20 years old when that happened. As I'm driving home, I get pulled over by like 5 cop cars and detectives, and they're putting guns to my face, screaming at me, handcuffed me.
One second.
Yeah.
You already were accused. Oh, this is.
Yeah, because every time I went into a convenience store, they would call the cops.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they never caught you yet.
They didn't call. Actually, I did 7, so I was driving one way to do the other ones, and there was 2 cop cars driving the other way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I remember that. So they pulled me over, a lot of cop cars. They put me in the back of a cop car. I was terrified, scared. They drove me off to jail. You get put in a holding cell with like 15 other guys. I spent like 30 hours over there. You don't move. There's like one toilet in the room. They just give you your charges. It's horrible, terrible. Then I ended up spending 2.5 weeks in the actual jail, in a dorm with 200 guys, all these gang members and criminals. Also very scared, terrified. But thank God I got out on bail to fight my case. And while I was out on bail, because I was so nervous, when you have a weapon in a case, you definitely go to prison. There's a mandatory 7-year sentence.
Wow.
So for 9 months, I know I'm going to jail. It's just whether, is it 10 years, is it 40 years? What's it going to be? So I was drinking every single night for 9 months. And it got to a point that my mom said to me, because she put up her house for a surety for the bail. She said, you're going to make me lose my house. You're not safe. You need to turn yourself into the jail and start doing your time. So I turned myself into the jail, and I started my sentence over there, but I wasn't sentenced yet.
Wow. You listened to your mom.
Listen to my mom. She told me this on a Thursday night. I went Tuesday morning.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very nervous.
You knew you needed to get into jail.
I knew it, and she knew it, and the thing is, even though you weren't sentenced yet, you still start your time.
Yeah.
So, I lost out on 9 months.
What?
I lost out on 9 months of, yeah.
Could have counted.
Mm-hmm.
I was a chaplain in a federal prison.
Okay.
And usually people don't discover the chapel and the religious services until like they're there for a couple of weeks and don't know the whole schedule. Mm-hmm. This guy somehow managed, the day he came to prison, to come to the Jewish services. And I'll never forget, tears in his eyes, he's crying. He says, now I'm free. His first day in jail, he's like, now I'm free. And it sounds like you had a similar kind of experience.
I share that all the time. That, when you're so physically locked in, that's when your neshama opens up.
Wow.
So yeah, I was, when I got to the jail, they ended up sentencing me to 8 years in prison. And, the judge took mercy on me. He saw I was just a young kid, and he believed that he should give me a second chance. That was short. He could have gave me 15, 20 years. So at that point, I was thinking to myself, I don't want to be a criminal anymore. I don't want to be a drug addict. I'm going to do all this time in prison. What am I going to do? How am I going to change? But I don't know what to do. So again, another thought, just like that prayer happened before the football season, another thought came to me that Judaism and Hashem and God would be the answer for me. So the Aleph Institute, obviously you know them, right? They give you this magazine for all the Jewish inmates around the country. And in the magazine, it shares a lot of things. One of the things I saw, we're supposed to say Shema in the morning, Shema at night.
Well, one thing, which prison were you in?
I was first in Pahrump in Nevada. It was just a jail at the time. Then I went to Victorville and then Otisville.
Oh, this is federal prison?
Yeah.
Why is this a federal crime?
It's federal because I was affecting interstate commerce. The gas stations that I robbed were federal or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's really hard because once you get to the feds, they'll manufacture evidence if they don't have it.
Oh yeah, they have a 97% conviction rate.
Wow.
If they got you,
People don't know
you're
that.
done.
People think like, okay, I know why I'm in
And
this.
they go to trial. People go to trial, and the problem is with trial, if you don't take a deal, trial they could stack all the charges.
Yeah.
Guys get 100, 200 years
Right.
because they decided to go to trial instead of taking 5 years.
For some reason, because when you're in, wow. So okay, I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
you're the Victorville, Otisville. Those are a lot easier than your original jail.
Totally.
Yeah.
Federal's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the Aleph Institute's magazine.
So I get the magazine, talks about the Shema. I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know anything about Judaism, but I wanted to do something. So I saw over there, Yom Kippur, fast from this time to this time. So that's how I commenced my Judaism.
Wow.
And after the fast, I broke my fast with like a pork and cheese, like burrito or something, I don't know. And you know, the guys in there knew I was Jewish because I think I went to services that morning. And then there's these neo-Nazis in the prison, right?
Yes.
Swastikas tattooed on their face, arms everywhere. One of them comes up to me, sees me eating a pork and cheese bowl, and he didn't say this in like a malicious way, but like a joking way. He's like, I don't understand you Jews. You fast and you pray, but you eat non-kosher. You're a hypocrite. And
wow, you know, it's a lot of Jews have that problem. I think the most common. I mean, I'm not an old man, but my job is to meet Jews.
Yeah.
I think the most common yetzer hara, evil inclination in Jews, is that I'm a hypocrite. I can't do this mitzvah because I do I can make other mistakes, and therefore I can't view this mitzvah as an untarnished diamond because I'm tarnished.
Exactly.
But really, every mitzvah is a mitzvah, and we make that mistake of thinking like, okay, I can't fast in Yom Kippur because I'm going to break my fast with a pork and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
When really, the mitzvah was a mitzvah,
yeah.
and it's not hypocritical to fast in Yom Kippur. It's hypocritical to eat the ham and cheese.
Yeah.
That doesn't belong. But the Yom Kippur is Yom Kippur. You don't agree.
I'm thinking ignorance. Did you know that it wasn't? Did you know that kosher was a concept and what it covered?
yeah, I knew pork and cheese. I knew
We're
it
not
wasn't
okay.
kosher, but I can't remember why I decided to do that. I feel maybe at that time I felt like, okay, I did that mitzvah, kind of like you said, and that's good enough, you know. And then I can go back.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
And let me have the pork and cheese.
It was good. So he comes up to me, tells me that you're a hypocrite, and that was the first time where somebody was able to get to me to tell me I'm Jewish, right? Like that's what I took from that. I didn't take it like as offense. I was like, whoa, like I'm Jewish, and I knew change was imminent because I just felt it. It was such a strong feeling, but again, I didn't know how to change because I'm just this lonely Jew in jail. So I get transferred to a California prison called Victorville. It's also a pretty bad prison, lots of gang members, pretty bad. But I was told that there's Shabbat services Friday night, Saturday morning. So I went Saturday morning, and when I went in there, I was shocked because there was one guy praying, an African-American guy, tattoos everywhere, tattoos on his face, obviously a gang member, talit on, praying like with a lot of intent. And I was just shocked because I didn't know that we come in all colors and forms first, and I didn't realize that there was like Jews in prison like that. Went up to him, I introduced myself. He introduced himself as a deer. He had a deer tattooed in Hebrew, covering a gang tattoo under his eye.
Wow.
Yep. And he was given a 56-year prison sentence.
Wow.
He's been in prison 21 years since he was 17. And the point is about him is just like the Nazi, he did something for me that nobody could do at the time. He said, you need to start eating kosher, and you need to start putting on tefillin. And because I looked up to people like that at the time, I was like, okay. So the next morning, started putting on tefillin. He would bring it down from upstairs, give me his tefillin until I got mine. And he would show me the Circle K, the OU, and I would start slowly, little by little, eating kosher.
Was this guy born Jewish?
No, and he's still not Jewish today. But he has a huge impact on my story. Huge impact. And it's funny, like, we would only be able to meet on Shabbat, Friday night, because he's black, I'm white. In the prison politics, you can't. So, and the only books to study were the Zohar. So we were learning about the letters, numbers. I don't even know what they were talking about, but it was so nice. And like I said, he would show me the OU, the Circle K, and buy this book, that book, to the best of his knowledge. And at that point, all the like criminal thoughts and drug addict thoughts just left my system, and I was filled with this desire to become Orthodox. But again, I had no idea how. So I'm asking my mom, like, how I need a rabbi, this, that. She would send me the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and I would...
The abbreviated form of the Code of Jewish Law.
Yep, so I would learn about the prayers, and you got to cover the toilet, because our cell has a toilet. I would cover it with a towel and pray to the best of my ability. And I was just hungry, but it wasn't enough. Like, I needed to be immersed in like a yeshiva environment. So my mom comes to visit me one day. She's like, there's this prison called Otisville. there's this guy, Rabashkin. And I'm like, oh, who's Rabashkin? Who's Otisville? And she's like, you should transfer out there. But I was like, no, it's too far. It's too cold, and I want to stay close to you. She's in Vegas, I'm in California, I want to stay close to family. But an incident happened where I got beat up pretty much in the prison.
What happened?
I was part of a program called Brave. In the morning, 7:30 to 10:30, Monday through Friday, we had a program about changing our lives. It's like a big unit. And the person who ran the program, she turned off all the TVs in the unit because we weren't following program rules. So the inmates all got together.
So you turn off the TV, the video cameras on you.
No, so I'm sorry. So
Oh, so the TVs are
in the units,
right?
we had,
Everyone has TVs. There are the blacks in their TV and the whites in their TV and the whites.
TV's a big deal.
Yeah, I
So
know.
if you turn off their TVs, that's a big deal.
That's a big attack.
Yeah. So
Turn off the TVs.
yeah, she turned off the TVs. They all got together. They said we're not going to the program tomorrow.
Right.
So during program, they had a boycott. Everybody walked outside. I was the only person that stayed inside.
Oh.
So that was really bad for me. They wanted to beat me up. And when they beat you up in prison, they could kill you because they put boots on, and it's really bad the way they do it.
Wow.
But they said to me, you're a prison rookie, you're 21 years old, we're just going to give you a discipline. Discipline, you have to hold your hands up 23 seconds, and 2 guys punch you in the stomach as hard as they can. So, and then after that, like in their eyes, like I'm good. I just needed that discipline. But for me, I didn't feel safe after that. And also I was up next to do a discipline on somebody else. I didn't have to, thank God, or I would have to beat somebody up. It's a whole crazy political system. So I was very nervous. I called my mom and I told her, I didn't tell her what happened because the guards listen on the phone. I said, Mom, like I'm ready to, let's try to go to
Because if you
Otisville.
tell your mother, then they'll beat you up for real.
So I didn't tell anybody for years about that incident. So I called her. I was like, let's try to get the Aleph Institute to help me to go to Otisville. They got on it. I got on.
So without saying you got beaten up, you still were allowed to move.
Yeah. I got lucky because I didn't boycott. I didn't get a write-up. And if you get a write-up, you can't transfer. So that beat up was my way to Otisville.
In both ways.
Yeah.
In both that you wanted to go.
Yeah.
And both you were able to go. That's crazy. I mean, I'm just thinking about like, people don't realize, like, I mean, hindsight is 20/20 vision, but like, being beaten up is not fun.
No, it's not fun, especially when you have to take it. You know, like I didn't have a choice. I had to hold my hands up.
You had to hold your hands up yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they told me like, if you fight back, like we're gonna beat you up.
Wow.
Yeah. So Olive helped me. A month later, I was transferred, which is super fast. I went on a plane to Oklahoma City, spent 2 weeks in Oklahoma City, went on another plane, spent 2 weeks in Brooklyn, and then finally made it to Otisville. When I got to Otisville, somebody introduced me to Rabashkin, and when I met Rabashkin, I always share, like, he had an aura of light around him in this dark place. I never met somebody like this before. He took me to his room.
How about after?
After?
He's unique. He's a unique man.
Very unique. He's full go. Like it's a full. It's not fake.
No,
he would have people come to the visiting room and visit him. You know, so it's one thing to show like you have emunah in front of people, but when you go back to the cell, is it the same thing? And I could actually attest it was the same thing always. He always had that unwavering faith. And
you were his roommate?
So no, I didn't live with him, but I lived in the same unit. So there was a minyan, there was 20 Jews, 15 religious Jews, 4 rabbis in total were inmates over there. We had a chaplain. Oh, I think it's good. We had a chaplain over there, and I was immersed. It was like yeshiva for me, right? And I had to jump in with the prayers, and we had minyan every day, 3 times a day, Shabbat, the holidays. It was beautiful. And I ended up studying with Rabbi Rabashkin. I wanted to ask him to learn, but I saw how busy he was. Like all day, he's busy learning and sending emails to students and calling people. So busy. And so I didn't want to ask him to learn, but the next day after I had that thought, he asked me. He was like, we're in the same unit. we should learn together. So we started learning Chumash with Rambam
Wow.
for 4 months until
Jewish with Rambam.
Rambam, yeah, until he was released. 4 months on Hanukkah when he was released.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
If he was constantly like at that time, I remember him saying that he just got, I don't know what it's called, but somehow right before he was released, he got like the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, so he got, his last appeal was denied. So that means you're finished.
How many appeals do you get?
I think you get like 2 or something like that. And his last appeal, right, like a week before Hanukkah, was denied. When Hanukkah came around, he's dancing and singing like he just won the appeal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was insane. And he's telling people we could still go home any minute, and they're like, "You're crazy, we're not going home." And the last day of Hanukkah, Trump let him out. I was that day, he got out at like 4 o'clock. We learned at like 5 or 6 every single day at night. He said to me at like 1 or 2 o'clock, he's like, "Okay, I'll see you at 5 or 6. I went to my room, I took a nap. When I came to his room, it looked like someone ran out of there, like it was ransacked, right? It was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. And I called my mom. As soon as I called her, she was like, "You know Rabashkin?" I'm like, "I live here." Yeah.
Wow,
that's funny.
It's amazing that kind of there's a teaching of the Baal Shem Tov that he said that really, really expresses. I mean, it's one thing to say it, one thing to live it.
Yeah.
Baal Shem Tov says in Tehillim chapter 13, how long will you forget me, Hashem? How long will you hide your face from me, Hashem? How long will I have to figure out ideas for my soul? So Baal Shem Tov says, how long does Hashem hide? How long does Hashem act as if he's forgetting? As long as you think I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But as you said, it's all done. There's no way out, and then he's dancing. Hashem is for sure going to take me out. It's unbelievable. I mean, like it's people saying he's crazy, but this is actually how he was.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I have an opinion. I feel like he made it so habitual, his faith, that it became part of him. He was ready for the bad news, like he was just ready for anything.
Wow.
I think.
There's a line that we read in the Torah last week. It says it's like menorah, and the Torah classifies light menorah as being elevated.
Yes.
And Rashi says, what does light menorah have to do with being elevated? Rashi says, light the menorah until the fire rises on its own. So this explains what that means. You're saying is to keep on thinking and feeling your faith in Hashem until it's part of you, until it's by itself. I'm just talking, but you've lived it, you saw it. Go ahead, keep on going.
So the next 5 years I was very depressed once he left.
Imagine.
I was happy for him, but I was very depressed.
Yeah.
I learned with some other rabbis. There was a Satmar Rebbe who spent 20 years. I learned with him for a year. There was a Litvish rabbi who was an expert in Gemara, doing 7 dafim a day.
Finishing the whole shas once a year.
Once a year. Writings. He was a sofer also. He was writing in prison. He went to prison for the whole get operation.
Oh, he coerced someone to send a divorce.
Yeah, and then the feds did a sting operation against him.
Wow.
They put on payas. It was crazy.
Wow.
So, yeah, the next 5 years I just...
So he was actually trying to really help someone. That's what brought him in prison.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Well, why was the Satmar rabbi there?
For fraud. This was a different rabbi. Satmar Rebbe was there for fraud. All these guys.
Okay, you don't have to continue. I'm good. I have a very good imagination.
But Trump let out all these people. There was like 5-6 Jews who were going to spend the rest of their life in prison. Let them all out.
Wow.
There was a guy who was doing 800 years. Let him out.
Wow.
So the next 5 years, I'm constantly growing. I'm pushing myself to learn Gemara, Musar, everything. Turning the TV off, no music, just Torah. That's it. And it got to a point where after everybody left, I was like the most religious person over there. And so it was very hard because I needed guidance and I didn't have it. But I want to share one more quick story with you. Is during COVID, obviously COVID was very stressful with the whole lockdown in the world. In prison, the lockdown was 1,000 times worse. So April 1st, 2020, they made a nationwide memo that they had to lock all the inmates down for 2 weeks when COVID started, meaning you're in a cell, 8 by 11 foot cell, lock the door, only getting out Monday, Wednesday, Friday to take a quick shower and a phone call, right back in. So that happened for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they put another piece of paper, or they put a piece of paper under our door that said you're locked down another 3 months.
Wow.
So after 3.5 months, I'm losing my mind.
Imagine.
Put another piece of paper under the door. COVID is still bad. Another 3 months, you're locked down. So after that 3.5 months, I'm losing my mind. Like getting out 3 hours a week, just to shower and make a phone call. No sunlight, fresh air, nothing. Losing it, walking back and forth. And when we got that second piece of paper saying you're locked down another 3 months, that night I took my siddur and I faced my door because I didn't want my roommate to see me. And I was bawling my eyes out, crying to Hashem. Like, I know we're not getting out. I don't know when we're gonna get out. I have 2 years in prison, maybe it's never gonna end. But please, like, give me strength and give me good thoughts.
Wow.
So I went to sleep that night, very depressed like usual. Woke up, it was Saturday morning, Shabbat. I ate the second meal for Shabbat. Walking back and forth, stressed out, and then I finally sat down and I had two beautiful thoughts. The first, that came to me. The first thought that I had was that I'm exactly where Shawn wants me to be. So I've been studying Torah the past 4 years of my life. People have been teaching me about faith and trust, emunah, bitachon. Now that it's time to apply it, I'm not a Jew anymore, that's the thought that came to me.
Wow.
I'm exactly, if he wants me here, I'll be here. If he wants me in a mansion, I'll be in a mansion right now. And that put my soul at ease a little bit. The second thought that I had was that there's this concept about manifestation, especially like in the secular world, it's real big, where you can, if you really think about it so deeply, you can create it. And I believe in a sense it's true, but I think we take it too far. I was doing that inadvertently the whole time we were on lockdown. We're gonna get out, we're gonna get out, we're gonna get out. I think there's like a line between emunah and that manifestation, but I was manifesting too much instead of putting my trust in God. We're gonna get out. When the piece of paper said you weren't getting out, I was devastated. So I realized in that moment, there's like a higher level of faith to just understand that you don't know the future, only Hashem does. And if you think you know the future and it doesn't go as planned, which it usually doesn't, you're going to be devastated. And that's what happened to me. So with those two thoughts, I was able to do that other 3-month lockdown with a little more ease. And they finally let us off of the lockdown. I spent another 2 years in prison. And I wrote a book in there called Conviction. Currently trying to reprint it. And I got out.
It's a great title.
Yes.
Conviction.
Somebody gave that to me. It was supposed to be convict to conviction, but we just put it together. So,
Conviction is brilliant.
So I got out. I got on the Meaningful People podcast. I don't know if you heard of them.
Sure.
They gave me I always wanted to help people, even since a young kid. And in prison, I envisioned myself trying to help as many kids as possible, and also the parents to help their kids. And that opened doors for me, that podcast, to be able to go around all over the country, sharing my story and trying to just pick anybody up that I can.
Wow.
Yep.
So, wow, thank you for sharing your story with us. Really, really powerful. So, besides your writing and your speaking, is there any thoughts of going to football?
So, I'm a little old for football. Guys usually stop playing at 35. I just turned 30.
What's the lifespan of a football player anyways?
They live long still.
I don't mean live long, I mean
Yeah.
on the game, on the field.
On the field to about, it depends what position. Some guys are done by 30.
You were a quarterback.
I was a quarterback, it's like 38, 40. But those guys are, can you imagine a 300-pound guy who's running so fast at you? I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm not interested anymore. But I love it. I think I want to do like camps for kids and stuff like that. Integrate some Torah or something like that. Because you see everywhere you go, there's kids talking about football.
Yeah.
It's so, and if you can integrate it in some way to help them grow in their Judaism, that would be amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. Wow. That's amazing how you want to put together those. Your experiences all as one thing.
Totally.
Cohesive.
Totally.
And is there anything else you're doing on the side?
So yeah, I'm a salesperson, sell medical devices, but I want to make this a full-time thing, like a kiruv type of thing where, you know, especially East Coast, I see a lot of crazy things going on with the kids. So I want to help the kids.
All right.
The kids, yeah.
I want to invite you to the West Coast and try it out over here.
Totally.
Because West Coast needs it.
Yes.
I don't want to go. I don't know the East Coast as much as the West Coast,
Yeah.
but I know the West Coast we need you here too.
Totally.
So if you have an invite to the West
Thank you
Coast
so much.
to make some kind of make a difference here, would be amazing. I know the teenagers that we have in our school and beyond that your story would be very uplifting, very uplifting. And any questions or comments?
It's a fascinating story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Have they turned off? 'Cause I want to say something, but I want it on the recording.